Welcome to the Resilience series. I'm Stephanie Weaver, author of the upcoming Migraine Relief Plan Cookbook, which has the theme of resilience and is available for pre-order now. My guest today is Gill Sotu. Gill is a veteran poet, playwright, DJ, and performing artist. He's a teaching artist and a commissioned playwright with the San Diego Old Globe Theater, and a teaching artist at the Jolla Playhouse, and the poet in residence for the San Diego Writers Festival. Welcome, Gill.
Hey, thanks for having me, Stephanie.
For those of you watching, Gill is an incredibly busy person working and also has three young children. So I'm super excited that we were able to get him here today. So,
Mhm.
Gill, to start off, how did you become a poet? And can you explain what spoken word poetry is for those viewers who might not be familiar with that art form?
Um, well, I'll do the second question first. So, spoken word poetry is poetry. It's just performance poetry. So it is the same exact thing as regular poetry. Sometimes, often, I should say, it's a little bit longer than typical poems that you would hear at a reading. But it's more performance based. So it's you're using more it's kind of blending acting and poetry. You're using your body, voice, imagination to really make the whatever you're trying to convey come alive, you know. um but Yeah, any poet can be a spoken word artist, and any spoken word artist is definitely a poet as well. We call ourselves poets. We usually don't call ourselves spoken word artists unless we're talking to other people outside the culture, you know.
Gotcha. And how did you become a poet?
I became a poet because I went into the Navy, and I had a lot of time and water in front of me and nothing else to do. So I started reading books for the first time that was not assigned. I got deep into like philosophy and spirituality and different religions, and like I just really started to learn for myself. And whatever you input, things have to come out somehow. So it started to come out in the form of poetry. Before that, I was just writing short stories, and I was a visual artist, and that's what I thought I was going to be. All of my life was a visual artist, until I started writing, and I just really fell in love with that.
Is there any other way that your military service in the Navy informs your work or informed your work?
Yeah, it gave me. I think every young person should try to travel, or every person in general. One I was listening, I forgot what I was listening to, but uh, th- it was a someone was talking about, like, at the end of your life, you know are you going to be more worried about the things that you didn't obtain, like as far as material things, or the places you haven't been? And for the majority of us, it's the places that we haven't been, the things that we haven't seen. And I think, for me as a poet, it really informed my worldview. It got it, it took it, because I'm from California, in Southern California, and which is already a melting pot, right, of different cultures and everything like that. But going out and seeing the world, and also experiencing the world with my other shipmates who have an even smaller worldview. They're like from these like places like down south Midwest, where that's all they knew was their town. So not only am I experiencing this new world, I'm listening to them speak about it and how they feel about it, and then interacting with them. So um I think what it helped with my poetry is that I'm able to, a lot of times, uh, uh, do poetry that speaks to a lot of different people. The same poem I could do at a church, I could do at a bar, I could do at a university, blah blah blah. I do it in prison, because I teach in prisons. So yeah, that's I think the Navy was the start of helping me see my worldview. Then after I got out of the Navy, I was at a travel agency for like 10 years, so I got to travel even more. So yeah, definitely.
That's so cool. So you're, as I mentioned, you're the father of three beautiful children. What
Mhm.
has parenthood taught you about resilience, or what is it teaching you about resilience?
When I saw that question that you had sent me, and the first thing that dawned on me is that there's a lot of similarities to having kids as to being in the military. One of the strongest ones is that the military or children don't care how you feel. Like you need to do what you got to do for them. So it doesn't matter if I came in late from a gig the night before or whatever. When the kid gets up and wants milk or needs something, I gotta get up. I gotta help out. And it's the same thing. Like I gotta be on my deathbed before, or in the Navy, to call out sick, you had to go to the doctor, like the medical doctor there. You couldn't just call out sick, or at least not on the ship. So there was no faking. You just had to do your thing. So yeah, that has informed. Um, I'm very cognizant now, as far as resilience on helping my children survive this world, and not just survive but thrive. And so I'm very cognizant of the lessons I'm learning and the lessons that I'm teaching. Like, how do I filter it to them so that they're able to really thrive, but not doing so much to where they're getting overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I am just last thing, sorry. Um, through my work with the Old Globe and through the La Jolla Playhouse and all the other places that I teach, in a given week, I can be at a high school, a prison, a rehab center, a retirement home, and when I look at the people that I'm teaching, a lot of times I see my children. And for those who have had a rough life, I ask myself all the time, where was the turning point? What was the fork in the road? Because some people even said, like, hey, I had my mother and dad, they were good parents, blah, blah, blah. So what was the difference? And so that teaches me a lot about resilience, and it informs my work in a major way.
Absolutely. So you wrote a poem during COVID related to parenthood that you were going to share with us?
Yeah, yeah. I During COVID, I recognized this as a very unique time in world history, and so I was like, I need to document this somehow. And this is when I just had the two children, but I wanted to kind of freeze that moment in time, and so this is it's called "Quicker Than a Kiss," and I'll read it now. We'll never have this again. We will never have this again. You this small and me this strong. You this impressed at my ability to simply walk into a room, to turn my legs into animated trees you could swing from, to reach things on the top shelf, to pee standing up. I build toy kingdoms that you are an expert at Godzillaing your way through. I throw you high into the blue of the afternoon and never miss your descent. Well, just that once, but we ain't telling mama about that, right? We will never have this again. You believing police helicopters over our house are the coolest thing. Me knowing that they are looking for things that I don't want you to ever see. You believing that asphalt and sidewalks bump, dip, and crack like ours. That houses are supposed to have bumps and dips and cracks like ours. Me knowing that 5 to 10 pay grades west, they got streets smoother than a politician's promise. Me promising to get you there someday, telling you that our rough roads are simply part of the adventure. You believing me, you always believing me. We will never have this again. Me putting sugar on truth, sugar on truth, sugar on your skin. You cinnamon, baby girl, pure cinnamon. You caramel, little man. Daddy's hungry. Give me that baby toe to gobble right up. Where are you going? Ah. Fatherhood is a contract unwritten with ink that never dries, with a language vastly open to interpretation, on paper, still alive. We are a testament to eternity. Although I will need multiple mental health breaks, it's going to take more than that tantrum of yours to make me ever want to leave your side. It is my job to make sure you inherit less emotional baggage than I had to carry, or at least at the very least be better preparing you. I take this love seriously. How dangerous this world is seriously. How beautiful this world can be when we have fun taking it seriously. And we only have these brief moments to get all of this done. So on the days I squeeze you longer and tighter than your boundless energy will entertain, just allow me this quiet vulnerability for a moment. We'll never have this exact us again. Listen, let's go to the place where you don't hurt and I don't work. The place in the picture we love that freezes the sunlight on our faces and the youth in our bodies. Pause that part of the video in the middle of your dance, mid thrust, mid air, offbeat, the indivisible, undeniable you and me. And I know we can't stay here forever, little one. Even in this digital age, we get lost in the hard drives of our need for individual ambitions. But for this moment, little one, I am pretending time passed us by like the turtle shaped clouds you like to point out. And now I'm going to gobble all them toes right up. Ah. How long will you long for me to be your monster? How long will it take you to find the sword of puberty and consider me a monster? How many mistakes do I get in raising you and disappointing your mother? What if I just say no? You are not allowed to leave this moment, to grow into another body, to get too heavy, to lift you over the crowd so that you could see what is coming, so that the only thing you have to deal with is your imagination. And that's still filled with furry neon and sweet things that make your mouth and hands sticky. And I got backpacks and several diaper bags full of sugar, not that sweet and low stuff either. I'm talking pure cane sugar, sugar on truth, sugar on your skin, you cinnamon baby girl, pure sweet spicy cinnamon. And I want you to yell that to any insecurity that questions you. You were caramel, little man, daddy's hungry. Give me that disillusionment to gobble right up. Kids, we don't have to leave this castle until we want to. Okay, let's just sit here and pretend time forgot us. And that's it.
Oh, everyone. This is why I waited so long to have Gil on the show. That's so beautiful, Gil. Thank you. And so now all of you know what spoken word poetry and how amazing Gil is. So thank you for that. Okay, so that I just want to ask a follow up
Yeah.
about the content of that poem because it was probably written around the George Floyd or after.
Yeah.
So, how did you, as a Black man, respond to that aside from the poem that you just shared? Because I think it's important for you to, if you're willing to talk about it, to
Yeah, I
share.
had a whole other poem around that. But you know, as a Black man, as a Black father, um it was a scary time. I was living in Lemon Grove at the time, and like right in the same shopping center that we shop in, that's where they were doing a lot of the looting and everything like that. You know, I remember being before I had children, um, anti-gun, like really anti-gun. And now I'm like, I'm not going out to buy a gun, but I'm also really thinking about how can I protect my family if something happens and someone challenges the safety of my family, right? So and then just like their relationship with the police and that gray situation. So like one of the lines in my poem, in this poem, I say, you uh you think that you thinking that police helicopters are the coolest things that you ever seen, because almost every other day there was police helicopters, like they were calling out, if you see a man in a red hoodie and blue jeans, then do not engage, blah, blah, blah. And they would announce this to the whole neighborhood from the helicopter. And there's been a few times where I matched the description of who they were doing. And you know, my son was like, "Oh, cool, a helicopter," and I know that they're looking for. I don't want them to meet. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so as far as resilience and my children and everything, it really brought a lot of things to light, and I think for a lot of people, how I responded though, so I was commissioned to write a poem about my response to it, right? Which is just like the biggest blessing that I could have had, and because I had to really sit and process my feelings. So I wrote a poem called "In Love" that they turned into kind of like this 10-minute piece with a bunch of different actors saying parts of my poem. And the core of the poem is that uh we're angry, but we still love. I think Black people in particular are some of for what has been done to us, we're some of the most loving people that you'll ever meet. We'll be the first ones to invite you to our barbecue and in our church, and we just so I talk about the pain, but I also talk about like the love, and not just the love that I have for people, but like um I feel like there's a lot of things that try to threaten this love, and it was my stance to say, you're not going to take this love out of me. That was my defiance, you know. So yeah, that's kind of how I responded to it.
Thank you. How do you define resilience?
I define resilience as a definitely a form of strength and a form of uh, really of standing and standing up for your truths, on despite the odds. So if you just go with the status quo, you never really have to show any resilience, right? But if you stand up for what you know is right, and there's always something in our guts that let us know is right, when you stand up for that and you don't compromise yourself, you can compromise when you're like negotiating, but you're not compromising yourself. I think that that's true resilience. um yeah, and then also just the ability to like get up, stand up, and smile and keep going the next day after you've been knocked down. That's also a form of resilience, definitely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So, my last question for everyone, I always enjoy it because I get a different answer every time. So, what are some self care resilience strategies that you personally find helpful?
Self-care, resilience, you have to um unplug from the things that enrage you. So if you ever saw there's a Netflix video documentary called The Social Dilemma, I think it's called. But it's basically talking about how the algorithms are in social media, which we all use, are calculated to show you the things that's going to engage you the most, which is usually something that's going to get you mad or enhance or reinforce the things that you believe. So whichever side of the line that you are walking, it's going to show you more things that get you upset, get you and so some of the things we should be watching, and so we're informed. But then there's going to be you gotta have to physically unplug from all of that, just so one, you're not inundated with all this hate, and you can take a step back. And because most of our biggest problems are solved when we're not thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? When you put thought to something, even as a writer, sometimes you're trying to force it, but a lot of times if you take a step back, then the answer is going to come. So I would say to unplug. you know One of the things that I learned recently is try to not uh turn on your phone for the first hour of your day, so that, and I've been doing that and it's been great, so that you're not you know feeling like you have to save everyone and answer every email and all that stuff. It's all part of self-care. Meditation is a huge thing. I think answers definitely come out of meditation. um Self-care for resilience. um Here's another big thing that I do, actually, is that I purposely look for two reasons. I purposely look for the counterpoint of what I believe. Like I'll search out media from the counterpoint of what I believe, just to understand their side, because everybody thinks they're the hero in their own story. And also to kind of balance my perspective. And then the other thing, talking about the algorithms, just so I don't get the same kind of stuff all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think that if you really sit down and talk to someone, I don't think anyone is all the way liberal in every single subject in every single matter, and I don't think everybody is conservative in every single subject, every single matter. So you have to kind of be able to talk and listen to other people that have different perspectives, and try to understand them, and that'll make you the most well-rounded person when speaking with a lot of people and being resilient, really.
That's great.
Yeah.
Gill, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your work. Please visit gillsotu.com. That's GILLSOTU.com to learn more about his work, his performance schedule, to see some videos of him performing, and also his DJ services if you're in the San Diego area, because he's amazing.
Yes. Or
Check,
LA too.
or
I
LA.
mean,
Okay, Southern California. Pay
there you
attention.
go.
Check out other episodes of the Resilience series on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Follow me at SWeaverMPH to learn more about my upcoming book, The Migraine Relief Plan Cookbook, which is due out this summer and is available for pre-order now. Thanks so much for watching.